Hey everyone, my name is Ronak and this is your 8th tutorial in the Python programming from scratch series. So, in this tutorial I will be discussing something known as global variable and local variables. So, what really are global and local variables? And I will actually teach you this with an example. In the last tutorial I discussed, like I gave you a task of designing a program, like typing it by yourself for temperature conversions. So let's take that program itself. So let's make a function. So let's convert the Celsius to Kelvins. So cells to Kel and alright. So Celsius is equal to, let's take the input, enter the number of Celsius, and we can say that Kelvin is equal to 273, while Kelvin is 273, perform something. So Kelvin then is going to be Celsius. So we can print the Kelvin is Kelvin, break the loop, so let's test this code. So enter the number of Celsius, let's say 0. Oops, oh yes, I'm sorry, it is in the integer form. So it's on the module, let's say 2, and the Kelvin is 275. Now let's make another function. Now let's convert Celsius to Fahrenheit. Here we can say Fahrenheit is equal to 32. So 0 Celsius is basically equal to 32 Fahrenheit. So while Fahrenheit is 32, Fahrenheit plus Celsius, print Fahrenheit is Fair, and we break the loop, and let's say cell to Fair. Alright, so it will definitely give an error. So it says name cell is not defined, but as far as this program is concerned, I have already defined the cell. So what really happened over here is this Celsius is defined inside this function, and this is considered as a local variable. This is considered, like, this situation is considered as a local variable because it is declared in this function. And what really happens is this function won't allow this variable, so the variables inside these functions are not allowed to being manipulated in any other functions. So what it basically did is Celsius over here is inside this function Celsius to Kelvin, and Celsius to Fahrenheit is completely different function. So it won't fetch the Celsius from this thing like from this function to this function, and this can be only done with the help of a global variable. A global variable is basically a thing where uh, those variables are basically accessible by ample amount of functions. Like you declare them outside. Let's have a look, and let's see over here. So now I've declared this variable cell outside the both of the functions. We have to check that whether this code is going to get executed. So let's see. It has definitely executed. What actually happens over here is this cell shells is outside these two functions, and these two functions can actually access it the way they want. So basically this is a global variable. Open it and comma. This is a global variable, and the Kelvin and Fahrenheit over here are the local variables. So this Kelvin is not accessible to any other function outside this function. It is only accessible to this function. So this is the basic concept of the local and global variables. Now you might run into a case where, so let's have a look over here. What if I want to manipulate the cell shells? So let's say cell shells plus Kelvin, and let's print cell shells over here. Enter number of cell shells, and it is going to definitely give you an error, because the thing over here is that assignment operations cannot be performed on the global variables. The global variables are only accessible if they are used without the assignment operation. If you perform some kind of assignment operation on those global variables, it is definitely going to raise an error. The correct way to resolve is that type global, the name of the variable, and now this variable has been declared as completely global and you can do anything with it. So what basically happens over here is this cell shells variable is considered by this function, where it says that this cell shells is global and you can do anything with it. So now it will definitely run the code. Yes. So this is the basics of the global and local variables, and that concludes this tutorial. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.